Doug Lamarice and Stephen Means talking about issues on the defensive side of the ball from what we saw at spring practice on Wednesday. The safeties are interesting, right? So again, when we talked about the offense, we're talking about guys not here. Jordan Fuller is not going to be out there this spring. He's like the most sure thing on the defense. Of course, he's going to start at safety. But in the meantime, a lot of guys are working through there. Isaiah Pryor was out there. Josh Proctor was out there. Shaun Wade was out there. Brendan White is still playing linebacker and safety for now. He's playing two very different positions at the same time. What are you most curious to see shake out with those safeties as a bunch of guys get reps while Fuller sits out?
I think what's most interesting is, like, who's going to be the starter for most interesting thing, just because Brendan White's going to be kind of hybrid and all over the place. He's not technically a safety. He's not technically a linebacker. He just kind of is intertwined between both of those two positions, which is, if I'm not mistaken, kind of similar to what they did in Michigan for a couple of years, where they had a guy just kind of tweening in between two positions for a little bit. But it's going to be like, it's kind of the same thing as far as like what the left side of the offensive line is going through, where the bad thing is you're missing your starter, but the good thing is, unlike with the offensive line, the fact that guys are getting these types of reps is more positive than negative, because they're not having to necessarily work with a guy they're protecting. So I think that's where the positive in that is, when you're talking about guys getting a lot more reps, because the one guy you know is going to be a guaranteed starter is not going to be out there for you.
I'm really curious about Shaun Wade. I thought Shaun Wade played really well at lots of last year. He's a good cover guy, and so I thought maybe he was going to wind up at corner. He was a slot corner last year, also playing safety. He was like a corner in nickel coverage and a backup safety. He seems like he's at safety, and if he's at safety, it feels like to me like they're going to want Brendan White to be this hybrid, more linebacker position. He runs with the linebackers and drills. A world where Jordan Fuller and Shaun Wade are the safeties, I think, is very interesting. I'm really high on Josh Proctor as well, but I had not really considered Shaun Wade as a safety when I did my pre-practice depth chart. So if that's where Shaun Wade is, Shaun Wade's a top 50 recruit. He's a really good player, and if you find him a home at safety, I think he could be a guy who could cover, who can be a ball hawk, who can get out there, maybe make some picks. So I'm really curious to see, with all these defensive guys, they're trying to figure out what kind of defense they want to run and what kind of guys fit into these different spots, and they've got to work that out. So he's Steven, I'm Doug. Thanks for watching. Lots of stuff about spring practice. They'll be back on Friday for practice number 2, and after that practice, which we'll watch again, we'll talk to the quarterbacks. You won't want to miss that. He's Steven, I'm Doug. Bye.